comenzando, si os parece, la última de las sesiones plenarias de la Universidad Verde, por favor. Gracias. Esta sesión plenaria con el título Una Europa más verde, más social y más democrática, con una mesa de lujo. Nos acompaña Nikos Chrysogelos, que es eurodiputado griego y miembro del Grupo Verde en el Parlamento Europeo, Alberto Allende, que ha trabajado durante más de 30 años en distintas instituciones europeas, Juan Berén, ya lo conocéis de estos días, que nos lleva acompañando desde el inicio de las jornadas, miembro de la Fundación Verde Europea y también ha trabajado durante muchos años para el Grupo Verde Europeo. Salvador Milà, que es diputado del Parlamento de Cataluña y ha sido exconsejero de Medio Ambiente y Vivienda de la Generalitat. Y yo misma, que para los que no me conozcáis, soy Cecilia Carballo y soy miembro de la Fundación ECO. La mesa tiene un título, yo creo que evocador, pero también bastante general. Vamos a tratar de hacer distintas aproximaciones a los cambios necesarios a nivel europeo y a tratar también de establecer nexos sobre lo que ha ido saliendo a lo largo de las temáticas de la universidad o las tratadas aquí, con la realidad, una realidad más regional, la realidad del espacio europeo. Soy una europeísta convencida, no soy euroescéptica, pero desde luego yo creo que esta no es la Europa que había imaginado ni que ha imaginado mucha gente, ¿no? Una Europa que se ha imaginado desde hace décadas como un espacio de integración económica y política libre de guerras. Esta no es la Europa que había sido construida a través de los progresos económicos y sociales, la extensión de la democracia y de los derechos, incluso de la construcción y la constitución del Estado de Bienestar. Y creo que esta no es la Europa que desde ECO ni entendemos ni queremos. Europa está en crisis y ha salido también a lo largo del trabajo de estos días porque ha sido secuestrada por el neoliberalismo y por la banca. En los últimos años el significado de Europa, con un persistente déficit democrático, siempre se ha reducido a una visión bastante restrictiva del mercado único y de la moneda única, trayendo liberalizaciones, burbujas especulativas, una creciente pérdida de derechos y una explosión de las desigualdades en la mayor parte de los países de la Unión. La crisis financiera, las autoridades europeas y los gobiernos nacionales están dando y han dado respuestas que se pueden calificar como irresponsables en la mayor parte de los casos. Están salvando a bancos privados y han rechazado intervenir con otro tipo de herramientas de la Unión Monetaria para encauzar las dificultades de los países más endeudados de la Unión. Han impuesto a todos los países políticas de austeridad y constantes recortes presupuestarios que posteriormente serán insertados en los tratados europeos. El resultado es que la crisis financiera se extiende a casi todos los países miembros de la Unión. También ha salido a lo largo de estos días, probablemente, o muchos consideran que el euro hoy por hoy está en peligro, y también se habla de gran depresión y de desintegración europea. Sin embargo, no estamos aquí para hablar solo de lo malo, de la situación y de la crisis, sino para pensar en positivo y para construir una realidad distinta, ¿no? O contribuir a construir esta realidad distinta. Europa puede sobrevivir si no utiliza viejas recetas para hacer frente a esta crisis. Creemos y estamos convencidos de que otra Europa es posible y que el futuro de Europa pasa por la justicia social, la responsabilidad medioambiental, la democracia y la paz. Esta es la vía indicada desde muchos movimientos ciudadanos, desde la ciudadanía europea y que está en contra de las políticas de austeridad que los gobiernos europeos y parte de las instituciones europeas quieren imponernos. Por lo tanto, una nueva forma de gobierno democrático de Europa es necesaria, no solo en Europa, sino también en el mundo, para afrontar desafíos globales que los Estados nacionales hoy por hoy a los que los Estados nacionales no logran dar respuesta. En esta Europa tienen que converger las visiones de cambio, se tienen que integrar las distintas propuestas sociales y una serie de políticas alternativas. Y para ello consideramos, y mis compañeros en esta mesa consideran, que se deben de, al menos, mejorar o hacer hincapié en una serie de metas u objetivos. Por un lado sería practicar efectivamente la democracia. Por otro lado, redimensionar el sector financiero, integrar las políticas económicas, una unión económica o una unión monetaria no respaldada por una unión económica y fiscal ni política está condenada a ser parte del problema y no de la solución para esta Europa. Y es necesario que todo esto lo construyamos bajo la paz y la defensa de los derechos humanos. Pues para hablar un poco de todas estas visiones alternativas y desde estos distintos puntos de vista me acompañan las personas que os he comentado. Iniciará la intervención Nikos Chrysogelos. Y a ver.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. It was a great pleasure for me to come here, although I had to travel from Cyprus to Athens and from Athens here. It was a long trip because there was a mission of the Green Group in the European Parliament to Cyprus. There are a lot of problems in Europe. One of this is the Cyprus problem. We have a word in Greek about crisis, krisi. We say this kris in Greek, it's similar. But crisis has a double meaning. Crisis could mean problems, but also could mean challenge for changes. And I think this is the case with the European Union and Europe now. We have a lot of problems. There are a lot of summits, and I think that already there are 18 councils after the crisis started, but there was no decisions, real decisions. Every time there was an announcement explaining that now we have solved the problem, but the next time the problem is bigger. And I think now it is the time for real changes in the structure of Eurozone, but also of the structure of the Euro as an idea. I'm afraid now we have a lot of populist parties and a big influence of these parties in the different societies. And if we are not able, as politicians, as political parties, to change the whole process of Europe and to make it again attractive for the societies and the people, then populism will be able to destroy this dream. And you can see what happened in Greece, in Austria, in Netherlands, in many countries. And not only in countries that suffer from the crisis, but also from countries that don't suffer at the moment from this type of crisis. So we have to not only to speak about, but to act for a more democratic, social, fair, greener Europe at least. We need new financial instruments and new proposals and new ideas and new models for the economy. And part of this new way of thinking is the Green New Deal. And of course we need a real new social contract for sustainable prosperity that balance the daily life of the people, the need for economy development, but also balance with the protection of environment and natural resources. we cannot protect the planet if we continue on using the resources with the same way as now, and think that there is a big change in China or in other areas of the planet, and they like to consume the same number of cars, to use cars, everything we use every day in Europe. And of course there is no such an amount of natural resources. There is no space, there is no even space. Everything is now covered by cement and constructions. It's not so easy, the situation. So we need new values. But because the time is running, let's come to the Greek crisis. Everybody says that we don't like to be like Greece. Yes, Greece of course suffer, but the result of the causes of the Greek crisis are based on the model of development and insufficient political decisions taken in the past. But I think the Greek crisis is also a result of the crisis of the Eurozone, and we must not forget this. And this is now more clear, but it was not so clear at the beginning of the crisis. Of course, there are failures of the political systems, but the political system in Greece, it was very destructive. Yes, really, there are countries that can suffer from financial problems or from fiscal problems, but the political system in Greece was unable to promote a fair and balanced policy in order to tackle these problems. And this is a very big issue now in Greece. From the other side, in Europe we decided to have a common currency, but without any other common basis. And of course for 1-2 years this can function, but after that it seems very impossible to have a common currency without common fiscal policy, without common tax policy, without any common financial policy. And it took a lot of time, many years, without any action. And certainly the international financial crisis make the difference. And now the cost of changes is huge, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of social results. And so we have to change the way of thinking. We don't have just deficit or debt problems, but the main fiscal problem is the imbalance of trade, and there are now countries that they, let's say, profit from the crisis, and there is countries with trade surplus, and there are countries of trade deficit. But this is not long-term a sustainable. Not these countries that now benefit from the crisis, they will continue long terms, because the crisis have changed the consumption in the countries of crisis. So long terms, nobody will benefit from this crisis, and no country will benefit from this imbalance south and north. And so we have to change, because both sides will not long terms survive. I think also there are evidences in Germany that there is a lower export, at least for the countries of Europe, from Germany to these countries of Europe. So we have to act, because if we lose more time, then we will lose also more money. This is clear. When the crisis started, the Greek crisis started, the discussion was about 10 billion euros for this bailout, and about the money Greece needed to survive from the crisis. But now we discuss about 340 billion euros, and nobody can assure that the debt of the Greek debt will be sustainable. I will show you later a little bit later some numbers, and if we are not able to take action in time, then the cost is higher in money, in terms of money, in terms of social results. And okay, we ask for support by Troika, by International Monetary Fund, from European Commission and from European Central Bank, but the policy proposed was for us a bit stupid. And the problem is not of course, maybe there are mistakes in policy and you have to change these mistakes. But what we see is that there is an insist on this policy that fails to solve the problem. It makes the problem even bigger from year to year. And the first problem, at the beginning, the problem was a deficit of the budget of the government. But after the implementation of policy, not only because of the mistakes of the political system of Greece, but also because the policy was not efficient, it was not a proper policy, then the problem was extended to debt problem. There was an increase of the debt, I will show you, and then the debt problem created a catastrophe for the whole economy, and now there is a collapse of the real economy. So the problem of the public sector was extended to the private sector, and now there is an increase of unemployment, there is an increase of the debt, there is a distraction of the administration, and less and less money can be spent for public investments, but also the tax system doesn't work anymore. Of course, this is a problem of efficiency of the Greek tax system, but it is also a result now of the situation, because now the people, they don't have money to pay. Of course, the people who have money, they have find a way to send the money outside, and there are some informations that Greeks have deposits in the banks of Netherlands, of Germany, of Britain, of Switzerland mainly, and we suppose that something like 180 to 220 billion euros of Greek citizens are there. So you understand that there are people who have money, but this money is out, and there are people who try to survive in Greece and they don't have any more money for their daily life. So young people, they have to survive with 400 euros if they have a job, but the cost of life is at least 800 euros. It is if you rent a house and if you have to pay the bills and if you have to eat something, then you need at least 800 euros. It is impossible for families to live with so less money. And so now it is a real problem. We have spent a lot of money for the bailout for this policy, and now we are not in a better position, but we are in a very hard position. I will come back again on this, but what we can say now, there are there are the main political proposals in Greece, but I think also in Europe sometimes it seems that there are two. The one proposal is to continue on this very bad policy. It fails to solve the problem, but because of ideological reasons, the Commission and mainly the the political government, the governments in Europe insist on these austerity measures. It is a real catastrophe. There is no hope. They will not. It is not possible to face also the fiscal problems. There is no solution following this policy. From the other side, the majority of the society is more is ready to follow the populist. They say against no, and they say against everything. They just insist on nothing. They say we are against, but they don't propose an alternative. And this is another problem, because if you say just no, then you go also towards a catastrophe. There is no solution like this. And of course, there is an alternative. There is an alternative, but it's not very easy. There is an alternative to change the structure of the economy in Greece, to change the administration, to promote a packet, a green investment packet, to reorganize the social infrastructure in order to be efficient, to be friendly to the citizens, to be more financially more efficient also, because sometimes you spend money, but this money goes to bureaucracy, not for the real needs of the people. So that was the social system in Greece. Huge bureaucracy, corruption, a lot of money, but not efficient public social infrastructure there. So what we need is a real reform: social, financial, economical reform, political reform. This is, of course, a logic policy. It's a policy based on a dream, but also on a realistic approach. Of course, we need changes at the level of the European zone, the Eurozone, and the European Union. Without changes like this, it is not possible. If the Commission says, or the government says, you have to succeed in the reduction of the deficit in 2 years from 12 or 10 or 8% to 3%, this is incredible. No country can succeed in such a goal. Even Germany, it's impossible. They insist on something that is impossible to happen. And so we must act in parallel to change, as a Greek society, to change the basis of the society, the basis that the Greek society was developed, let's say developed, but it was not a sustainable development. And at the same time, we need reforms at the level of Eurozone. And this is important, but we don't have much time. I mean, we have to forward these reforms soon, not after 10 or 20 years, because we don't have this time. So 6 months, 1 year, it's long period now for the crisis. And what we propose for the survival of the people there, because now they suffer. There are parties, they say, okay, you will receive money, you will be able to have salaries again, sustainable salaries, but this is not true. This is not frank. Yes. And what we propose is to, instead of promising rising of salaries, to invest in social and environmental infrastructure. That means the people can survive with less money, but their survival based on social infrastructure. To give an example, now the people pay a lot of money for energy bills. They pay a lot of money for health services by the private sector. If we reorganize the energy sector and the healthcare system, then they can save money from their family's budget, and so to balance the reduction of salaries with, let's say, a social salary. They don't receive money, but they receive social infrastructure that doesn't exist or it is not efficient in Greece. So, because the time runs, and then we can discuss a little bit more, look at the numbers. Now the employment in Greece is 23.1% from 7.6% in 2007. The youth long-term unemployment is 54.9%. The reduction of household income is about 25 to 30%, and now the new measures will contribute to reduction by 5 to 7%, so it's, for many people, it's a real catastrophe. More than 20.9% of the population lives below poverty rates, and the real economy is destroyed. Even healthy and profitable and competitive companies are not anymore like this, and the total reduction of the Greek gross national product for the period 2007 to 2012 will reach 20, or some other estimate is 25%, and gross domestic product shrank 6.2% in the last quarter. So you can understand that based on this, it is not possible to solve your fiscal problems, and this is real. Look at the numbers. Deficit was in 2008 7.8%, in 2009 15.8%, in 2011 9.8%, in 2012 7.6%, but it is impossible for 7.6% to reach the goal for 2014, 3% or less than 3%. And the debt in 2008 was 113, in 2011 it was 160, and after the haircut it is 145, it is not 45, it is 145. The goal for the 2020 is 120, but there are estimations that the debt will be between 145 to 160. So, in any case, all the effort is not efficient. It's not sustainable at such a deficit, even if it is 120. You can understand that it is more than the beginning of the crisis, the start of the crisis. So we need another policy. We can discuss more about changes at the European level, and we come back again.
Alberto, por favor.
Bueno, gracias, Cecilia, y muchas gracias a Javier, a Aitor, a Sole y a Jon por su ayuda, que ayer me estuvieron ayudando a preparar ese esquema que les he dado. Bien, después de lo que ha dicho Cecilia, de la excelente presentación que ha hecho Cecilia y de la explicación del caso concreto